Hey everyone, this is Derek, and I'm concerned about climate change. So, if you haven't been living under a rock, you know that Donald Trump won the presidency last night. But I'm not here to talk about, dissecting a campaign's strategy or talking about who's to blame for the loss. I want to talk about what happened the very next day after Donald Trump won. If you're an elected official, party leader, or pundit who spent the last 4 months shouting about how Trump was not a normal candidate and that he was an existential threat and an actual fascist, but yesterday you got in front of a mic to moralize about uniting behind our president and how we can work with him, just sit down. That attitude makes you useless in the fight ahead. So let's all do Trump one single, small courtesy, and it's the only one he deserves. Let's assume that when he promised to do something, he plans to do it. Let's assume when Trump says, I will lift the restrictions on the production of $50 trillion worth of job-producing energy reserves, including shale, oil, natural gas, and clean coal, and that he plans to lift the Obama-Clinton roadblocks and allow vital energy infrastructure projects like the Keystone Pipeline to move forward, he fucking means it. And let's also accept what the science says will happen when that carbon hits the air. Let's assume that when Trump says he'll cancel all federal funding to sanctuary cities and begin removing more than 2 million people in this country, he means it, and people we know are going to start disappearing. Let's also assume that Obamacare is going to be toast, because Trump and the Congress he'll be working with said it will be toast. Let's just assume that when Trump expressed his contempt for women, incited hatred for a free press, and encouraged the scapegoating of immigrants and brown people, yeah, he meant that too. The difference between the calls for unity between 2008 and today cannot be overstated. In 2008, Republicans resisted that call to unity to unite behind the president based on conspiracy theories and attributing some unspoken take your guns and eat your babies agenda to President Obama that differed from his spoken words, to put it mildly. Today's resistance to unity this time from Democrats and other progressives, and the crazy-sounding scenarios we say we fear, exists because we are quoting the actual promises of Donald Trump. The pushback we're getting on the right and from these weak tea sellouts on the left is a maddening assurance that he won't do half of what he promised and continues to promise to do. Listen, when a guy tells you he's going to stab you once he picks up a knife, and then he picks up the knife, you better react like you're about to get stabbed. The worst attacks on women's rights, on people of color, on Muslims, on the climate, these things are coming. Trump got a hold of the knife. It's in his hand. Normalizing him won't save you. Citing norms of presidential behavior won't save you. Stop soothing everyone and help them get ready to defend themselves. We have the fight of our lives on our hands right now. This is not a question about whether we'll hope Romney Care works almost as well as Obamacare. This is about whether we are going to sit by while millions of people get deported or targeted by bigoted laws or have their land and water or air defiled and seized by fossil fuel companies, whether we're going to give one last worthy effort to save the future from catastrophic climate change or caricature ourselves by removing all the protections from public lands and then belch enough carbon into the air to turn out the lights on our biosphere. We are in this ambiguous moment between campaign rhetoric and governance, but this is a critical moment. Right now, behind the scenes, they're working on the transition. Trump and his group are choosing who will head federal agencies, and staffing in those cases is policy. They are also deciding their priorities for executing that first 100 days agenda. In that time period, the worst thing you can do for your fellow Americans is to sing Kumbaya and pretend we are in normal times. We need to be baring our fangs and rolling up our sleeves and making sure they know that they have a fight on their hands if they try to implement their agenda, and that we plan to make it hurt. We are not in normal times. We are not about to have a normal presidency. The ship just hit the iceberg, and a leader who tells people to rearrange the chairs and make sure the band keeps playing is going to get people killed. Do not go back below deck when the soothing voice tells you everything is fine. It's not. This is game time. Act like it or go sit down. Thanks for listening, guys. Please take a moment to subscribe and share this video with your friends. We have got to get out the message that it is not time to sit here and hold hands with a fascist president who's planning on killing the climate. Thanks.